It's the age-old question, which is worse, leaving during a live performance or sleeping during a live performance? And I had this experience just the other day, and we're going to get into it. And I want to hear your thoughts. You can comment on the chat on the Facebook Live, or you could hit us up on Twitter at RiverTalkPGH, or on the phone at 412-407-2PGH. I am Brian Crawford. I am Pittsburgh's moral compass, your voice of reason among three rivers of chaos, and you are listening to the River's Edge Radio Network, Pittsburgh's local music radio station. So the other day, actually, it was just Saturday, I was out and it was my night off. I got a Saturday night off, which is a rare thing for me. And I went out to Abbey Fest, which was really a lot of fun. Congrats to Redfish Bowl and Chris Trolls for putting that together. Lots of fun. So I'm out, I'm enjoying the art, and I am enjoying the music at Abbey Fest. And I'm scrolling through Facebook, as I always do on my cell phone, and I see my good friend Rob Spear is hosting an event at Hambones. Well, I can walk to Hambones from there. So I figured, why not see what is going on? So I sent him a message, and if you remember, he was on our show. He was the one who said that he had wished that I wasn't wearing pants due to the Pant Guru bit, which you'll have to look that up, where we go into the details and talk about how there was a pant guru at Sears with the perfect pant folding technique, but you can look back at a future episode for that. So I messaged Rob. I asked him if he was hosting somewhere. He said yes. So I went to Hambones, and I'm there, and the whole day I was wide awake because I had an easy day at work. I didn't take a nap or anything, so I was just rolling. I sit there. I'm in the front of the crowd at Hambones, and there's a lot of great comedians there, a lot of well-known names in the Pittsburgh scene, and I'm sitting there, and then I go like in and out of these dazes, and the comedian will be looking right at me, like trying to get my attention as he's talking to the crowd, and I've realized that I'm missing entire segments of the bit because I'm going in and out of consciousness. So after about 3 comedians in, I stand up, I go to Rob, and I'm like, man, I can't stay any longer. I have to go. I'm going to fall asleep. And I had considered going out to my car and just taking a power nap, but I figured if I'm so tired that I can't even sit upright in a building full of comedians and stop myself from passing into a slumber, then maybe it's time that I should just leave, and maybe it would be safer for myself if I just moved on. So that's what I did. So the question is, which is worse, falling asleep during someone's live performance or walking out on them? And we luckily have 2 performers here across the table from me. We have Mike Y and we have Michael Cohen. What is worse, in your opinion? Would you rather have somebody sleeping in front of you while you're on stage, or would you rather see somebody get up and leave?
I'll tell you what. I walked in. I'll tell you about a show I saw that forever changed my feelings on what patrons can do inside of shows or etiquette.
Yes.
I went and saw George Wallace at the Flamingo in Vegas because I had some friends opening for him, and the first people that walked in late, right? George Wallace looked at him and said, just harassed out of him, and then at the end, after he was done harassing him, he had him sit down at the front table, his reserve table, and bought him a round of drinks. And everybody kind of watched that exchange in amazement and thought it was okay to laugh. Some of them did. It was just kind of an awkward thing. And as soon as he was done, he went, "Yeah, it's cool. You can come to my shows whenever you want. Joke's on you. Your money's already in my pocket."
Yeah.
And I was like, man, talk about the complete opposite tack from what artists want to hear about, about whether it's cool to sleep or walk out or whatever. Talk about the total opposite way. I was like, oh man, that's forever changed the way I think about that stuff. I think you should walk out. I think you should.
Well, that's what I ended up doing. Yeah, because I'm just I felt bad because the performances weren't bad. I had been up. Well, I work overnight, so I had literally been up since 6 p.m. the day before. So at this point, I had already been up for over 24 hours, And, I had just been rolling, and nothing was slowing me down, and then all of a sudden I just hit a wall. And I felt awful, and I'm like, oh, it had nothing to do with the performers, but man, I was exhausted. It was awful.
I'd say sleep, but here's the thing: don't do the
So you
weird.
would suggest to sleep.
Don't do the weird eyes open, spacing in and out thing. Like
That's what I was doing. Yeah.
Go full sleep on me, because if your eyes are open, then maybe it's me.
Okay.
But if you're actually asleep, I know it's you. And again, I'll make fun of you. Like I'll just mock you from the stage. Is the thing.
For sleeping.
Yeah, I'll probably just be like, "Oh, this dude's wasted. Look at him." Or be like, "Damn, dude, you've been hanging out in Millvale shooting too much of that, you gotta chill on that, I mean."
Have you ever slept at a bar?
Only in high school. I used to fall asleep at punk and hardcore shows.
I mean, is that even legal? I thought legal or I know it's bad etiquette.
Well,
I know the bar will just kick you out because they don't want the PLC to be walking in there.
Yeah, it's
Right.
definitely not legal.
Yeah, when I was bartending, I had to kick people out. If they
I know,
fell
I
asleep.
definitely slept at Smalls before, but that's their fault because they have these really comfortable outside chairs that you can lounge in. Like, one of them is literally a lounge, and you can lay down while out there and, working overnight. I sit down, I lay down on that chair, and then I just remember one day I woke up and I'm like, oh, I missed like an hour of the Acoustic Cafe.
I guess I never thought about this, but like at a comedy show, there is no right answer to that question, right? I mean, if you sleep or if you walk out, I mean, there's a good chance that either way, somebody's going to point it out or whatever.
I'm sure, yeah.
To me, I would just rather, like, if you walk out, it looks bad for me. If you fall asleep...
Well, I didn't walk out in the middle of someone's set. What I did is I kind of strategically placed myself near the door and watched the end of the set, and then I ducked out before the host got back on stage because I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm walking out in the middle of your set because you
that's
suck.
the thing I'm always afraid of. Is it looks like I'm walking people.
Yeah. So I was very strategic about it because I didn't want to I didn't want to give anyone the impression that I didn't like their material, but no, I just was I literally was falling asleep at the table, like upright, in an upright position, coming in and out of consciousness. And we are going to hold Brian Crawford up against the merciless values of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania after the break. We have Mike Y in as well. He'll be talking about the One Human Band Festival, which is coming up, and we're going to get into all of the details about that, so you want to stay tuned for that. And then, of course, I single-handedly saved the city of Pittsburgh by telling 3 weird stories to keep the Mon Monster at bay. That's all coming up right here on Pittsburgh's Voice for Local Music, The River's Edge.
And there's a fountain running down through your bed, so stay down and out of sight. I'll keep you safe tonight.
Go, it's green, come on! Go!
God damn it, Brian. You need to calm down
I'm
with the road
sick of
rage.
these people, these assholes.
It's the road rage, man. You gotta calm down on the road rage.
Well, I want to get to where we're going. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to Falling Water,
Bicycle heaven.
the Mattress Factory,
Tuck knob.
Trundle Manor. All right, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on,
right,
come on.
Right.
Too late now.
Right, come on.
Well, too late now. I gotta keep going. I'm not gonna sit here like some asshole.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, you're listening to the Culture Cruise. You can find us at riversedgepgh.com.
Your local Pittsburgh area museum podcast.
Yes, riversedgepgh.com, and come take a ride with us.
Hey, listen up for some sweet pizza discounts. The River's Edge is partnering with Frank's Pizza and Chicken to offer you 10% off your ZA. That's short for pizza.
Seriously? Za?
What?
Anyway, mention you heard this ad and Frank's will give you 10% off your order of $15 or more.
Oh my god, have you tried their famous buffalo chicken pizza?
Oh, don't even get me started. Can you name all 4 Frank's locations?
Millville, obviously. Troy Hill, Shaler, and North Hills.
Gold Star. Anyway, support the River's Edge Radio Network by ordering from Frank's Pizza and Chicken the next time you get hungry for some za. And don't forget to mention you heard this ad so you get your 10% off. Go to frankspizzachicken.com for more info.
Offer good for a limited time. Order mostly $15 or more before taxes. Cannot be combined with other discounts or offers. Other legal jargon and whatnot.
We here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania stand by a strict set of values. Values that hold our Commonwealth apart from the rubbish that we call the other 49 states. We stand by the values of virtue, the values of liberty, and the values of independence. It is my job as Pittsburgh's moral compass to make sure that the citizens of the Commonwealth are held up to these values. Today we are going to hold up Brian Crawford, your wonderful host, to the values of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Virtue. Brian Crawford claims to be a supporter of local entertainment. Brian Crawford claims to be a friend of Rob Spear. Brian Crawford claims that he likes the comedy scene, yet Brian Crawford was found passing out at a bar in Lawrenceville. Brian Crawford is a hypocrite. Brian Crawford does not have virtue. Liberty. Brian Crawford decided that day that he would take it upon himself, that he would fight the man, fight social norms, and sleep at a bar in Lawrenceville. Brian Crawford decided that he would walk out despite it not being the in thing to do. Brian Crawford showed liberty. Brian Crawford showed independence in his actions. He wasn't going to be held down by a comedy show being held in Lawrenceville. No, he made up his own mind. He made his own decisions. So the question is, does Brian Crawford hold up to the values of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? Absolutely. I mean, I decided to leave. I could have stayed. Independence, liberty, right? I mean, I got it there, right?
I mean, I guess. I mean, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness
Yeah.
until you infringe on somebody else's, right?
Exactly. So I mean, virtue, questionable. Liberty and independence. I think I won on those two. So Michael, you do you think I failed? Do you think I
Brian, you're
withstood,
delightful. You do.
I withstood the challenge?
You do your best. You nailed it. Don't worry.
I nailed it. All right.
No one cares if you pass out at ham bones. It's fucking ham bones.
Well, there was like a big thing one time. Somebody did pass out there. They're like, you got to get this asshole out of here. But I wasn't like passed out. Like I was in an upright sitting position. I was just going in and out of consciousness. So.
Just so I'm like 100% clear, was that like a straight diss on ham bones, or is that like a relative to like who comes to ham bones?
Oh, it was totally just relative. I mean,
that's not the first time ham bones has ever seen somebody passed out kind of comment.
I mean,
right?
I'm just saying it's swarmed by stand-up comics. So the level of human beings inhabiting, like, we are dirtbags. We are bad people with bad habits.
I remember there was one guy at one of the open mics. I love ham bones, but he was there and he kept falling asleep, and we all kept trying to wake him up. We're like, dude, you need to leave. But I wasn't like, he was like laid out, like passed out in a booth, like, and they're just like, no, you got to go. I was actually like sitting upright. I looked like from like somebody who wasn't like staring at me. Like if you were staring at me, you could see like the glaze in my eyes as like my eyes are like rolling into the back of my head. But if you were looking at me from the side, it would just look like I'm sitting there watching a comedy show. So,
and ham bones, that's only bad by Lawrenceville standards. I used to work at a neighborhood bar in the north side. I'm not saying dive bar. I'm just saying neighborhood bar in a heroin neighborhood. And the level of behavior that I was expected to tolerate without kicking our regulars out, because that's the problem, right? It's never some rando passing out. It's always some regular, like, half falling through the pinball machine or whatever. Yeah. That guy's known your boss, for 20 years or whatever, and drinks there every day and doesn't feel like he should be cut off. No, ham bones is clean and tidy by comparison to much of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, totally.
Lawrenceville's just bougie at this point.
I guess. I mean, I guess ham bones doesn't get to be that way because they're the only joint in on Butler Street not charging you like $9 for a beer or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy because I love that venue, and
That's
if
great.
it wasn't called ham bones, that would be
You would
like
meet women there.
if it wasn't called ham bones, you
Tinder,
would think that was like a decent place to go see live music in addition to comedy. It's surprisingly good venue.
Oh, it's
for
awesome,
live
yeah.
music, and yeah, I love that joint.
And they also run their entire stage like a talk radio show. They have like segments, like every week it's like the same, not the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing. Like you've got your comedy night every night of the week, you've got your music night every night of the week, you've got this group every time this week. So you get your regulars. Like it's like when you listen to a talk radio show and you're expecting that segment to come out.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I perform there sometimes 3 nights a week. I mean it's my home mic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's crazy because man, their sound is like disproportionately good for like what you would expect to walk into a room, and they do a great job.
And the food while we're at it, Taco Tuesdays is unbeatable.
Yeah, it is great.
They do. I think they do have the best pulled pork in the city of Pittsburgh. It may not be. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. In a city that does not eat healthy, right? I'm gonna put it. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna put it out there.
Don't lean it on the cord. Just hold it. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Sorry.
Don't like move your finger
what I'm
off
doing
the.
wrong.
Just don't touch the XLR, basically. There you go.
I'm
There
doing
you're set there.
something wrong.
You're set there. So.
Some unknown thing is going wrong in sound. Yeah, I love that joint, man. And the crazy part is you can't go to any place and you're like,
share the mic.
Sorry. Where in Lawrenceville are you going? I'm going to Ham Bones. Everybody knows Ham Bones.
Right.
Everybody knows Ham Bones.
Yeah, it's great. 'Cause it's non-smoking and it's cheap beer, and that is a hard combo to find in this city.
That's a hard combo to find in Lola, that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
Laura Lawrenceville or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know if you guys heard, but Bill Cosby is now affecting the Pittsburgh market, the Pittsburgh area, with his lawsuit. So they've decided that anybody who lives in Philadelphia or near Philadelphia is tainted by the media in dealing as far as being judicious in their decisions, a jury based on with Bill Cosby proceedings. So now they are pulling people. I feel so bad. It's awful to go on jury duty. So I hear. Have either of you ever served on a jury?
Oh yeah, I love jury duty.
You love it? So
Yeah, it's
people
great.
people say it's awful.
No, I mean the thing that sucks about it is that you miss work for it. But
Yeah.
other than that, like if it paid halfway decent, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So
Me never.
you've never done it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done it
You just
either.
argue with people trying to get someone else out of trouble.
Or get them, screwed, I guess, if you.
Yeah, I guess.
So, anyways.
I mean, I've never had to be on the jury for like a Bill Cosby. It was always
Yeah.
just like the worst was like a drunk driver, and who knows if he was a drunk driver. We decided he wasn't a drunk driver.
Well, this is what doesn't make any sense to me. You would think if you were going to inconvenience anyone, it would be the people who are dealing with the lawsuit, right? The people who either put the lawsuit out there or are at the other end of the lawsuit. But no, they're inconveniencing all of the people from Pittsburgh. Not only do they have to miss work, do they have to serve on a jury, but now they are going to have to, and this is the worst sin of all, they're going to have to go to Philadelphia. So they're going to have to live in Philadelphia for like a few weeks. Wow,
Dude,
all of
sign
this
me
goes
up.
on.
Those people need to quit whining. Are they getting their room and board paid for?
I wouldn't want to go to Philadelphia. I wouldn't want to get paid to go to Philadelphia. I'd bring it here. Bring all the people here. Do it in Allegheny County. Do it right there at the courthouse. They're making all these people move. So now it's like,
I mean, jobs aside, right? Jobs aside, let's factor out who gets to be on jury duty, right? From my perspective, yeah, it probably wouldn't be worth the time or the money or the trip. But could I sit in a room with 11 other people who didn't manage to cleverly duck jury duty to participate in that experience? Like, I think the entertainment value of just sitting in a room with 11 other people that didn't think it was worth it to skip out on the Cosby trial
yeah.
would probably be worth my time right there. Like, that's my price of admission.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's one of those things that was on your you never realize it's on your bucket list until
Till
you're
it's
there
on
doing
it.
it, and you're like, what would my life have been without this? You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I do feel like it would be interesting, but I hear it's extremely boring to be on a jury.
Depends what you like, I guess. Okay, Brian, ready? How about this? Think about this. Do you like having an issue explained to you and then bickering about it? I think you do.
I don't know, maybe, but I feel like most of it is you're just sitting there waiting. That's what I hear. Like you're waiting in a hall, you're waiting over there, you're waiting over here. God forbid your cell phone dies. Do they even let you bring your cell phone in?
I mean, not in the room, but yeah, you can have it there. But also, like, dude, bring a magazine. Come on,
I don't do
bring a
that.
book. Stare at a wall and think about something. Like, it's fine.
No, not staring at a wall and thinking is not fine. That's boring. especially for like when you're forced to do it. If you choose to do it, that's one thing. But if you're being forced to do it, like, hey, you're gonna be in this room without your cell phone, without anything else. You just have to sit there. It's kind of like at work when we run out of things to do. And then they yell at you for pulling on the phone. It's like, what do you want me to do? Stare at the other guy? And you wonder why everyone where I work, why the longer they work there, it's like the bigger effect the place has on them negatively.
It's almost like they want you to focus on serving the process. It's almost like they want to focus on serving the process.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just saying, like this isn't like detention, right?
it
like,
kind of is.
You don't go there and they're like, hey, we're gonna take away everything you can do, and you have to do nothing and stare at the wall. They're taking away all your distractions at participating in this one thing, and like considering the very USA Open that this segment has.
Right?
I think we're coming full circle here. Like. Somebody else's liberty is at stake, and they're trying to make sure that...
Yeah, my liberty's at stake. I'm being forced into this room against my will when I could be doing more important things.
I mean, is it really true, or is like you being on jury duty just testament to how uncreative and unclever you were about getting out of jury duty?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, because like right now I've been racking up like people that I know, so if they try to put me on jury duty, I can roll out like names like I know this sheriff, I know this police officer, I know this police chief. Like I'm trying to like collect all of these names that I could use to be like, oh, I'm biased.
See, I was totally the opposite, because they were like, the prosecutor had prosecuted me in the past, and I had told a newspaper that I felt that they were very unfair to us, and that I thought that cops were largely dishonest. And he was like, given that the primary witness in this case is an officer, like, do you feel like you have an anti-police bias? And I was like, oh no, sir, absolutely not. And then when I was initially the only person who was like, I'm not going to convict this guy, I was like, oh, I need to swing at least a few other people, or the prosecutor's going to think that I just did this because I don't like police. I was like, this could get awkward.
Wow, that's... Are we even allowed to have that much inside information without? I mean, not knowing the case, are we actually allowed?
This is almost a decade ago, and in North Carolina,
so if it was more than 7
we're
years ago,
solid.
it doesn't even count.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is why people don't vote, though. People literally will decide not to register to vote because they don't want to go to jury duty.
Oh my God, the amount of shame that people heap on folks who vote third parties or didn't vote in the presidential election. I would love to know how many of those people went out like last Tuesday to vote. And like I know the fucking hipster at my work who's like, anyone who voted for Jill Stein is the reason that we have Trump now. I know she isn't like out voting in the primaries in the middle of May or whatever. And it's just, oh God, don't get me started on the voting thing.
Yeah. So, all right. Right around the corner, we have the 3 weird stories to keep the Mon Monster at bay, where I will save this city from destruction. That's up next here on the River's Edge. Mike White later on, even though he's talking now, we're going to talk more in depth about about what he's got going on with the one-man band fest, and that is coming up at 10:40. Weird news up next here on the River's Edge.
Hi, I'm Mike Storer, host of the Awesome Cast, which you can hear right here on River's Edge Radio. We're talking tech, getting geeky every week with people from Pittsburgh in the industry. Go check us out, awesomecast.net, or listen to us right here on River's Edge Radio, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money.
I am Pittsburgh's #1 weapon here in the River's Edge studio at Millville Studios here at 220 North Avenue. Come check it out. Awesome art. And this is the time of the week where I put myself at risk to defend the entire city from total destruction as I fend off a beast known as the Mon Monster, a monster that hates the Allegheny and hates all of us and travels upstream to wreak havoc on all of the communities along the Allegheny River. I know you thought that the flooding in Millville and even the flooding downtown years past was a natural disaster. No, it was an attack. It was an assault. And if I do not give of my time, it could happen again. As you know, if you listened to last week or if you're a longtime listener of the show, It only takes 3 weird stories to keep the Mon Monster at bay, entertain the beast, and it will recede back into the waters. So we have 3 stories today. We have the Rat Cafe, we have the Undie Heist Hypocrisy, and we have bread art. And I will invite my panel to join me. So, number 1, the Rat Cafe. $49.99 will get you a meal and drinks in a cafe surrounded by rats. So if you ever wanted to drink with a rat, you can do it. It's great. It's called the Rat Cafe. It says here, this comes from the Huffington Post. It says, cat cafes are all on the rage these days, so it only seems logical that some other species can get in on the action. For 2 days this summer in San Francisco, they will host a pop-up rat cafe where patrons will be able to enjoy coffee, pastries, in the company of these critters. And it's only $49.99 to drink coffee and eat pastries with rats.
You know, I probably had at least 1 or 2 apartments where the rent was only like $49.99, and I could eat with rats month long. So
you could do it. So you're game.
I mean, I guess I'm just not seeing the value in $50 for one dining experience when, you know, you can rent an apartment for $300 5 miles from here, where you can eat with rats all month long.
There you go. See, these rats are special rats, though. They're not.
How are they special?
They're adopting. They're not wild rats. They're rats up for adoption.
Oh, are they cute little white rats?
I'm sure there may be some. The picture of the rat here on the on the article is not a white rat. So.
It's not a white rat?
It's not a white rat. Not the one in the picture, but I mean there are multiple rats, so it's possible that they could have all rats of all different types and shapes, colors, size.
Because I stayed at a
cheese preference.
Because I stayed at a squat in the Bay Area in 2006, where one of the people living there had quote rescued 2. Well, okay, so she worked for a guy, and he was like, "Hey, go get me rats for my snake." And then he was like, "Take these 2 back to the store." And she was vegan, so she was like, "I'll rescue them, and they'll come live with me." And didn't realize that one was male and one was female. And so this squat had the cutest white rat infestation. And they were
fantastic
everywhere.
It was the most adorable infestation.
It was so cute.
Story 2. There is a woman who was caught stealing underwear. And why is this hypocritical? You know, I call it the Undie Heist Hypocrisy. She's caught stealing underwear, but she runs a semi-nude cleaning service.
That doesn't sound hypocritical at all. That sounds like decreasing your overhead.
Yeah. Also, I think I'm very clear. If she was caught stealing panties, I'm very clear on which part of the semi the nude was.
Sure, but maybe she would get a higher customer base if she just went like fully committed.
I mean, that would definitely address both the overhead. Yeah, that would probably take care of it.
I mean, stealing stuff to get your business up off the ground is pretty much the American way, right? You like rob someone for their labor or their land or something or whatever resources they have, and then you either historically change it or launder it to go legit, right? Like I know a lot from high school, a lot of drug dealers I knew got into real estate because it was a great way to do that, or similarly, right? That's like how like basically the whole Southern economy got going, and the Northern economy 100 years before that. So I mean, that's she's just doing what our forefathers have done, you know.
Let's see here. It says
let's celebrate her for her get up and go.
So the police sergeant says on Facebook that the woman had stolen garments that would fully cover, support, and contain much of what her business title promised her customers. So apparently she was covering up more than what she promised for her customers. So
I mean, they got to get in the door wrapped in something, don't they? I mean, you know.
I don't know. Where is this at? This takes place in Maine. So yeah, I would think in Maine you couldn't just like walk around in the nude.
I've been,
at least in Maine. We can agree that at least in Maine.
Yeah.
I've been swimming in Maine, and the way the law was explained to me, topless is a-okay, and the way the law is stated, because basically they want you to be able to be nude, but they don't want creepers running around.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that they have chosen to interpret the law is that you cannot have your genitals showing, But since women's genitals are inside, they are allowed to walk around nude. But since males' genitals are on the exterior, we would like you to cover your scary parts.
Wow.
That's crazy. So she could probably get away with it then.
Yeah,
Wow.
totally.
Fantastic. Story 3, the bread art. So for $30,000, you can get a moldy Mickey Mouse imprint on a slice of bread. $30,000 for a moldy Mickey Mouse slice of bread. $30,000
What are these,
for
penicillin
a
or something?
moldy Mickey Mouse sliced bread.
I think ironically, I'd be really interested, but I'll bet you that you get the Jesus imprint for a lot less than $30K.
Probably. So, this I thought was interesting. It's literally just like the three, circles, like the Mickey head that's iconic, and it's moldy, and it's on a slice of bread, and it reminded me the other day of my experience at the Heinz History Center. I went to the Heinz History Center. They had like a museum free entry day, and we were there, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Andy Warhol. I know it's like taboo to say in Pittsburgh. Not my thing. Not that impressed. But I was walking through, and there was this picture. It was a print that he did, and it was called The Car Crash. And there was so much detail, and you don't see it right off the bat. You have to really look, but there's actually a human body laying in the car that's like half out, and it was really, really cool. And I thought, wow, I might have to rethink Andy Warhol. This is interesting. And then literally right next to it, he took a slice from a loaf of bread he bought at Giant Eagle and put it in a frame. And that was it. And I'm like, no, I was right. So as soon as, he was getting his redemption, he fell from grace again. I'm sorry. And I was talking, I was with a bunch of artists the other day, and we were talking about this and talking about Andy Warhol. And I said, I'm not a fan. And I said, there's nothing to that. Like, he literally went to Giant Eagle, bought a loaf of bread, put a slice in a frame. That was it. There was absolutely no effort on his part. He didn't create anything. It's dumb. It's rubbish. And they all pretty much agreed with me. They tried to be politically correct, and were like, oh, well, he did this, he did that. But they were pretty much like, yeah, I'm not a fan either, and I don't get it.
It's funny to me that there's a chance that if a really interesting design appeared in mold on that same slice of bread, there's a chance it would appreciate in value as an art piece based on the earlier story.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Well, at least that is like something unique. I mean, this is literally just like he went down the bread aisle, got his bread and milk for the week, and thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to throw this in a frame. Like, it's stupid. It's dumb. It would be like me taking these cough drops and just like putting it in a frame. Like, hey, I bought this, and now I'm an artist. Give me 10K. I'm sorry. As somebody, both of you are artists. You put a lot of time and effort into your craft. To me, that's just not impressive.
I don't know.
I mean, I think particularly my art, where the thing that I do is not, there is certainly a lot of skill to it, but also simply recognizing when something is funny and then bringing it to other people is maybe a little similar. Where, like, when you just walk through the world. Also, I guess my question is that in a larger body of work where he's trying to prove a point? Because a lot of the times...
No, it's literally just a framed slice of bread.
But at that time, was it part of a larger body of work where he's trying to prove a point, right? It's not about tomato soup. It's about, like, mundane stuff, or I forget what. I don't really follow fine art, but I guess my point is like, I think a lot of times they're more like trying to drive home a point than saying, you know what I mean?
I'm running down to the Shop and Save here in Shaler. It's the closest grocery store. I'm gonna buy a packet of saltines. I'm gonna put one of them in a frame, and I'm gonna sell it to you, Michael. How much will you give me?
I mean, I don't really buy art, and I try to. I work in restaurants, so I try not to even pay for food. But so you're losing on both counts there.
I have one question
Yes.
about this, about how much I would pay for the saltine.
Yes.
Is your name Walt Disney or Andy Warhol?
My name's Brian Crawford.
So for the Brian Crawford saltine, I'd say it might be worth less than actual value of the saltiness. So
I actually think it makes it priceless. I mean, how
Yeah.
could you put a value on something that I
literally
create?
something without price. Perfect. There you go.
Depreciates as soon as you take it out of the store, right?
Well, out of the freshness
Yeah.
container, that's actually most of the value.
Yeah, fair enough. If you open it in the store, it's still worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Brian.
No, I mean everything I do is it's priceless. It's a piece of art. You know, every time I speak, people's ears, you know, they're filled with a sense of. Can you feel joy through your ears? Because I feel like everybody who's listening right now, that's what if you had to materialize what you're hearing right now as I speak, it's pure joy, transferred in through the internet, through the vibrations of your headset or speaker system, and then received by your ear. It's kind of a miraculous type of thing.
You know, I've got his headset on right now, and I'm really actually just hearing the modesty. Actually, that's
Yeah.
what's coming through the headset.
Well, I am
Lot of
known.
modesty
I
right
am
now.
known for my modesty, so
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Your reputation precedes you.
Yes, thank you. So, Mike, we have you right here, and you have
What's
a
up, man?
festival coming up, the One Human Band Festival.
Yeah, One Human Band International Music Festival.
Yes.
Actually.
So it's international. Is that the sense? Are there multiple festivals going on at the same time, or do they move around? How is it? How do you get the international?
Well,
aspect?
actually, we're an international music festival because we have international artists coming
Nice.
into play here in Pittsburgh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and our roster of artists, our group of artists, our team of artists, are about half from all over the continent and half from the city of Pittsburgh.
Wow, very
So
cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
I know. I was looking at some of the lineup, and I know a lot of the local artists here, you know, being involved in the River's Edge, and you're going to be doing 6 shows over 4 nights.
Yeah, 4 nights of music and on 3 different stages in 3 different communities in the city, and all the music doors open at 6:30 and music starts at 7 every night.
Now, your goal, are you trying to get people to go from place to place, or is it trying to bring the music to the different communities to try to get as many people exposed to the music as possible?
I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I mean, what it boils down to is we had a tremendous opportunity to work with some stages that are known for their local music, that in the form of the Funhouse at Smalls. And of course, Smalls itself being a venue that has international touring artists coming through it. And then also Hambones, which is a very known venue,
Yeah.
and a great spot in Lawrenceville. And then got to work with the Hard Rock. It'll be my first show at the Hard Rock.
Oh, nice.
So I think all of those rooms were actually selected for their ability to have great live shows, right? That was our focus. It wasn't about taking it someplace. It was about, hey, if we're going to start on Wednesday and end on Saturday, like, we want to take this someplace where the live music is going to matter. And that's how we ended up at the stages that we're at, and we're very, very excited to be working with them.
So tell me about some of the performers that will be at the festival, and give us some more information about what the festival is, somebody who wants to come out and check it out.
Sure. It's being powered by Filter, which is the Pittsburgh live music and technology community.
Nice.
So basically, Filter...
Which you do a lot of live looping, so technology is very important to what you do.
Exactly. And basically, Filter is the organization that we're working with to put together the live looping nights that happen the last Wednesdays of every month at the Funhouse as well. And the idea is just basically, as I'll tell you, this was from my end of it, and why I do the work that I'm doing in the city outside of my performing realm is because when I was an 8-year-old kid in the city of Pittsburgh, I was in love with a cappella and beatboxing, and I didn't even know what live looping was, and I couldn't really get any of those things here in Pittsburgh, right? So the idea behind this festival, and the reason that I'm here Monday morning sitting here talking to you guys, is because I want the next 8-year-old kid in the city, I want the next 8-year-old boy or girl that's like in love with the things that I'm excited about, to find out about them.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know anything about live looping until I was an adult, right? And so this is a live looping powered festival. It's a music and technology integrated festival. Outside of that, it's multi-genre. It's you know, we have bluegrass, blues, funk, soul. We have beatboxers. We have, you know, we have some really top level international touring artists. Our artists have been featured North by Northwest, South by Southwest, BET, MTV. Like, these artists are self-enterprising. They're wonderful people, and they're really talented performers. And they're able to use technology in a way that makes them able to create all their music live from stage. and that's the core of our festival. They are literally one-man bands or one human bands, and that's and so each one of them is a solo artist exploring their genre using a music technology merge to make themselves a band on stage. I do it with my mouth and my voice, but there's a lot of other people that are just pushing the boundaries of how that's done. And the cool thing is it's solo artists. I mean, it's a musicians festival as well as being family friendly and that sort of thing, because people are going to enjoy what's happening on stage, and it doesn't matter why they're going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Some people are just going to be like, wow, that's amazing. But musicians are going to come to this festival and be like exploring the boundaries of what they can do from stage based on seeing what these artists can do from stage.
Is it challenging to play with yourself? In a sense, I mean, the fact that you're creating music and then the live looping and then you're adding to it, is it hard to kind of match with your own rhythm because you're hearing yourself?
Yeah, I think from my aspect, I actually kind of like it because singing relies so much on being able to match tone and timbre and the shape of what you're singing. So I actually kind of like live looping. But I'll tell you what.
Was it something to get used to though? Like, is it a challenge to get used to it? Because to hear. When you're trying to match with someone else,
right,
you're hearing a different voice. But I know if you hear your own voice, like a lot of times when when you do a show live with the radio and we'll have the PA playing, you're not used to that. You're used to hearing yourself through the headset. But then when you hear yourself being projected outwards, at first it can kind of, when you're not used to it, it can throw you off because you're hearing your own voice and it doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think that I think there's plenty of ways to from a performer's aspect. I think there's plenty of way. Everybody does things their own way, and yes, that can definitely be challenging. The thing that blows my mind is with so many of the artists that we have playing this festival is that they're multi-instrumental artists.
Yeah.
So these are people that are these are people that play different musical instruments and play them very, very well at a very, very high level. And then on top of that can also sort of juggle the plates you need to create their band show from stage. You know, their band show that's them standing there in a box that's 4 feet wide, and they can make a band show for you, and that's the thing. I mean, I've actually gotten to perform with a good number of these artists as they come through town: Dixie Duncan, John Paul DeRover, Brian Fitzy. I can speak to the fact that these guys they're high level, high energy performers, and they do everything else that's on stage to make the music, which blows my mind. You know,
I imagine it would be exhausting. Almost to run around and try to do so many things at once.
Yeah, it's spinning plates. I've heard people describe it as spinning plates, and that's the best way to describe it for sure. Yeah, you've got this one over here, and then you run over, and okay. Oh wait, this one's not spinning the way I want it to yet. I mean, that's definitely what it feels like, and it probably doesn't I'm 5'8". 300 pounds. I'm pretty stationary when I'm on stage. I don't move around a whole lot, and people probably don't think I'm expending a lot of energy, but literally I'm making sure that parts move, around my, around my show in a way that presents it to the audience. Some of these guys are real physical too. They're real, they expend a ton of energy. It's unbelievable. I'm really excited about this festival. I'm very excited to be a part of it.
So how did you discover live looping? Because that's what you do.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I like I said, my 3 loves in life are acapella, beatboxing, I call it vocal percussion, and live looping.
And you did you get the Guinness Book of World Records when you did it at Art All
So
Night?
it's pending for the Guinness Book right now.
Because anybody who doesn't know, Mike tried to get the Guinness Book of World Records award for the longest.
Yeah, it was
beatbox,
and it was a part of, basically we were.
It's for Art All Night.
Yeah, exactly. We were creating a living exhibit for Art All Night, and it happened to be long enough that it qualified to actually apply for the Guinness record. So it's pending in the Guinness Book right now. It's still under review, but it did set the United States and North American record for beatbox performance. So nobody'd ever really tried a show like that on this side of the world before.
Well, that's the first time I was introduced to you, actually, and we didn't even know each other until later on. But when I met you, I'm like, I remember him. I think he was the guy from Art All Night.
Yeah. No, right, exactly. And it was basically, those guys were great. I was like, let's make this a living exhibit, and it was just next to anything like you were hanging on a wall, except one of them was a pane glass, and it was, me beatboxing through.
Fantastic.
And this was another, like, just like that, this was another opportunity to bring something I loved that I didn't learn here at Pittsburgh. I learned about live looping when I was 25, and it was as part of an a cappella festival I was involved with.
Okay.
And so I saw somebody do that, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's absolutely, like, this makes total sense. I want to do this. But then I found out that since 2000, there have been international festivals for live looping all over the world. So this was an opportunity to bring one here into Pittsburgh. I've been headlining at these festivals and featured at these festivals all over the continent in the last few years as a function of the touring I've been doing. There was an opportunity to bring one of these types of festivals here. We are an affiliate nationally of US Loop Fest.
Nice.
We're an affiliate of the Y2K International Live Looping Festival Series. We're just doing it a little bit different way and putting our own little Pittsburgh spin on it so that we can really open people's eyes and ears to some things that don't really get a lot of play in Pittsburgh, but absolutely should. I couldn't be more excited to be involved.
Is it a challenge to try to manage so many different venues that are in different parts of town?
I think it's really about, the challenge is really making sure that you're bringing the same quality of live music to people every night, and like the venues are doing their part by just being great venues for live music. We're just going to make sure that the production aspects on our end are smooth, are very, very smooth and very, very portable. I actually think that this is going to be that we're doing our festival in a way that might help preserve live events moving forward. I'm personally, as somebody who grew up in live music and live music rooms, I'm scared for the live event.
Okay.
You know, I'm viscerally worried that live events are going to fall off our map, or they're going to get so devalued that nobody actually wants to come and pay money for them anymore. And amazing things happen live when you get off your couch and leave
great,
your house. Yeah, look, I don't have to preach to you because I know you do it, and you know I do it.
Yeah.
But I think that portability is actually one of those things that's going to be very, very helpful. You know, people really don't want to travel farther than their backyards anymore, and they still want live experiences, and they still want high quality live experiences, and those can be very hard to come by. And I think by going to a few neighborhoods in Pittsburgh this first year of our festival, I mean, we're going to Millville, we're going to the West End, you know, we're going to Lawrenceville, we're going to neighborhoods in the city where people want live things. I think that we're really maybe setting the tone for a way that you can have something good without having it be huge, you know, and I'm very, very excited about it.
Now, how does it work? Are people going to buy tickets for each individual show?
Yeah, we have festival passes. If you want to come to each night of the festival, you absolutely can. If you go to onehumanbands.com, onehumanbands, plural.
With an S?
With an S,
Okay.
yeah. One.
Because, I mean, this is Pennsylvania. You never know. It could be a Z.
Yeah. Honestly, if you just type it in Google at this point, you'll find the festival right away. And yeah, you can absolutely, you can go to each night's event, but on any of the nights, you can select a festival pass and you can pick it up walking through the door. So you can go to the other shows as well, or you can just find the one that interests you. We have different shows that are dedicated to original music, instrumental music, beatboxing, and guitar rock showcase. And then we also have showcase shows that feature all of the touring artists. Like I said, there's something there that everybody will walk into one of these shows and walk away going, wow, I can't believe that happened. And also, I really want to follow this artist for the rest of my life. And that's the goal. You know, whether it be somebody local.
I think it's the goal of any festivals. You want to get people to start listening all the time. You don't want them to just come into the festival and then not come back. The goal is to try to get people to buy the merchandise or follow the people and buy the music.
We are an artist forward festival, and I'm very, very proud of that. One of the things I think you lose when you try to do something big is that it tends to make it not artist forward, because you end up having to prioritize the venues, you end up having to prioritize the sponsors, and that's not bad. That's good. That's a good way to run a thing, but it can really, really take away from the fact that you have invited people. I mean, we have touring artists coming all over from over the place, and some of them have never even heard of Pittsburgh, much less been to Pittsburgh before. And we want to show them we have a beautiful city that is filled with people that love live music and want to support live music. And we think this is the best way to do that. I would rather have them play in rooms where there were 100, 150 people, that will come, that will support, and will find out about them and find out what great people they are as well. You know, and musicians too. These artists, most of them handle their own marketing, their own promotion, their own production. These are independent artists in every sense of the word, and musicians and will learn how this is done. Like, they are one human shows, top to bottom. And you know, honestly, I'm proud as a performer to be amidst them. But you know, people are going to be really amazed. People are going to be really amazed by this festival, and we are very, very artist forward.
Do we want to give a few venues where people can come to check it out? I know it's going to be from the 31st through the 3rd, but there's several different venues, as it says, 6 shows in 4 nights. I know I'm seeing here. Just taking a quick look at the thing. May 31st at 7 p.m. we have the Fun House. Thursday, June 1st, 7 p.m. at the Hard Rock Cafe. June 2nd at Hambo's in Lawrenceville. And let's see. We have 2 shows that night, 7 and 10. And then the 3rd at the Fun House at Mr. Small's as well. So, and then 10 p.m. Looks like that one is also at Smalls, correct?
Yeah, basically, if you're in the city of Pittsburgh and you love live music, open your calendars right now. Now. Find Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, May 31st through the 3rd. Find one evening to spend with us.
Mark one of them off.
Absolutely. Come out and spend one evening with us. And I guarantee you that what you think of the local music community here, what you think of what we can do as a community in terms of international music, I guarantee your mind's going to be completely blown. That said, 3 venues: Mr. Small's, Lawrenceville, Hambone Stage in Lawrenceville, and also the Hard Rock Cafe. And thank you very much to those venues for opening their doors to us as well. And also, if you come to one of the shows, we will be sending out special. There will be special little opportunities to join us at other parts of the city of some things that aren't advertised as well. So
nice.
Most definitely, if you buy a ticket to the festival, you're going to find out exactly where we are. And I've got some really exciting announcements coming up on behalf of the festival about some of that stuff too. So be sure you buy a ticket and come out, because I think you're going to like what's going on. Yeah,
do not miss it. May 31st through the 3rd. All throughout Pittsburgh. We mentioned the venues. Check it out. You can go to One Human Band. You can Google that, and there's also a Facebook page.
Bands, plural.
Yeah, One Human Bands. Yeah, and check the website out, and you can get all the information right there. We're gonna wrap up the show with a new segment that I'm going to add, where I think we're coming upon end times. And, there are things that are happening in the world that have led me to believe this. And every week I will bring to you another nugget of dread that has led me to believe that we are living in end times.
This is not progress, this is distress. Oh, what a mess, what a big bloody mess. This is not a war, this is not a fair fight. This is not a window for you to see the light. This is not a battle, this is not a victory. This is not about the desert or the oil or being free. This is not a revolution when there is no solution. This is impossible to find a conclusion. I can stand here and watch my world die.
And the world is dying, and I have proof right here. A company in London has advertised for a new position in their company. The position is the emoji translator. Yes, companies are now hiring emoji translators to communicate with the dumb people who can no longer write in English. It's distressing. If this doesn't say end times, I do not know what does. As I said, I was in the Carnegie Museum of Art and History the other day, and I was looking at hieroglyphics, and it's sad that even the ancient Egyptians did hieroglyphics better than we can here in 2017. If we're going to use hieroglyphics, at least make them cool. Can't we just, write a sentence? Is anyone else not annoyed with the fact that communication is now smiley faces and winks? And I mean, it's cool to add one to a sentence, but sometimes you'll see 30 emojis, and it's like, decipher this. No, motherfucker, use English. That's why I think the world is going to die.
Yeah.
It's the end times.
So-
We are living in end times. These are dark ages, Michael.
So what, like a decade or two ago, when Esperanto was a popular idea, what was your take on that? Like a sort of universal language that's source. Because to me, the thing is that the way emojis are used right now is extremely primitive, but what we're essentially headed towards is a universal visual language that will be more intuitive for non-literate people. Like I actually think it's
Learn to read. Maybe we should pour money into literacy and teach people to read.
Well, maybe
I'm
we
okay with-
should, but if you know that that's not the direction that our country is headed in, what else can we do? Because I think that's dope.
I would rather leave people behind than devalue my education or dumb down my mind to reading pictures.
'Cause I think that is fire 100, and it gives me an eggplant, a literary eggplant.
I don't even know, why would you put a picture of an eggplant? Just say eggplant. It's not much more effort. In fact, it's actually
code for boner, Brian.
Oh, see, I don't know these things because I don't do emojis at all. I just think the world is ending.
No, not at all. Don't worry about sharing the microphone on this one. It's not ending. It's just going backwards, just like you said about the hieroglyphics, right?
Yeah.
That's all. But the reason that those forms existed was that we weren't able to create video records and audio records so easily and pass them along to people. So they had to create a writing system. So part of this is like there's an eventuality to it, and the other part is it's like we're dumbing down for mass appeal, no question.
It's awful. The world is ending. If it doesn't end before Monday, I will be back next week. And Michael, you're usually with me as well.
I will be here again.
You'll be here as well. So, Mike Y, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for
Great having
me.
you in. Definitely look forward to it. May 31st. Don't forget. I'm Brian Crawford. We've got local music up next here on the River's Edge Radio Network.